Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Artist Works Dispatch, live dispatch from home. And we are very happy to be here in your house today, bringing a little bit of music your way. And in case you don't know who we are, Artist Works is an online music instruction company. We work with 37 world renowned musicians who teach online using the Artist Works unique platform. And we are very happy to share these musical moments with them and sometimes some of their friends, which is the case this evening. I want to just start our event by saying that we certainly believe in harmony, both musically and societally. And we universally believe that music is uniquely powerful to unite, to soothe, and to inspire and to heal. And so this evening, Artist Works is going to spend some time with two wonderful musicians, Mike Block, cellist, as well as Casey Driessen on fiddle, a friend of Artist Works and a friend of Mike Block. So we are happy to include you in our musical conversation and a musical oasis. So we are going to hear now from Mike Block.
Hello, thank you, Patricia. Hello, everybody. I'm going to sing you all a song here it's really all about bringing different cultures together. It's actually a mashup of an Indian spiritual song, a bhajan, called Raghupati Raghava Rajaram, mashed up with an American gospel song, Where the Soul Never Dies, by Hank Williams.
Yay! Bravo,
Thank
bravo,
you,
Mike.
guys.
That was really great and so unique. That was really incredible and inspiring. Thank you so much. And I want to welcome Casey Driessen and thank you for joining us today too in this live dispatch from home.
Thank you, Patricia. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And so tell me, Casey, first, where are you right now? Because I know you've been on the road. Where are you? And then Mike, tell me where you are too.
Yeah, I'm in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh,
Yeah, and I've been here for 3 weeks now. I came back from Finland 3 weeks ago, and then we went into a 2-week quarantine because we were coming from overseas. We spent it out in camping in the mountains, and for 2 weeks, my daughter and my wife and myself, and then we've come into Asheville. So I'm actually in my parents' house right now because our home is not available yet.
well, we have many questions for you, but first, Mike, it's so good to see you, and what fabulous playing. I'm just so pleased that you are teaching at Artist Works. I mean, it makes me very proud. And you just play so well, and that was such an interesting tune. Tell us where you are, and tell us a little bit about the tune you just played.
Well, I'm home.
You're
As
home,
many people are.
okay?
You may or may not have heard a scream from the peanut gallery. My baby was crying right as I finished. It's bath time now, which
Oh.
means anything can happen.
I thought that was
Um,
cheering.
It was the peanut gallery then. Literally,
Yeah.
it was the peanut gallery.
Yeah, right, nice. But yeah, I'm home, and so that song actually came out of a project I have with a tabla player originally from New Delhi, India, Sandeep Das, and we tour a lot together just as a duo, cello and tabla, and we've recorded an album, and essentially had to put together all of our own music because
wow.
there is no music for cello tabla, you know. So he pointed me. I wanted to learn an Indian song, and he pointed me to that bhajan, the Indian spiritual song. And then essentially, I just felt somewhat foolish to sing in Hindi next to Sandeep. So I found an American song to kind of mash it up with and kind of find a way to actually, in a way, kind of capture the spirit of our duo in that arrangement, just kind of like really embracing each other's traditions and trying to cross that divide.
Yeah, well, you did a great job. That was really beautiful. I'm sorry that my music theory is not up to snuff. It's been a few years since I've been in college. But what is
Is there an
the
Artist Works class course on music theory?
there
Surely
is.
there's some good resource. No,
There is.
There is, yeah.
But what's the mode?
Well, the fun part is that the Indian rag kind of captures what we might call like a minor mode, natural minor scale. But the bluegrass song, the gospel song where the soul never dies, soul of man never dies, is got a major third. It's kind of in a mixolydian mode. So essentially, I just really enjoyed what we call mode mixture, where I was really oscillating between major or minor, even within a single phrase, and
Yeah.
I find that very satisfying. Yeah.
Mike, just a little bit of housekeeping. We're having a hard time hearing you. Can
Oh
you
yeah.
turn-
Oh yeah. I
yes,
should probably
yes.
bring my mic closer. Sorry about
As
that.
a turn, microphone, voice, volume. Yep, got it, got
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, I've got John Graves over here saying we can't hear Mike. We can't hear Mike.
Oh, I said a lot of great stuff, but I could never repeat it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Casey, I know we're going to have a lot to talk about because what you've done with Other Lands is just so fascinating to me. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you just the highest level broad stroke of what this guy's been up to. He needs to tell us the rest. But for the last 9 months, he has been traveling the world with his wife and his child. And I mean, everywhere it seems like this guy has been. And I'm just so pleased that you're spreading music and sharing your musical life with everyone. And you did it in the middle of a pandemic and everything else. Can you just give us a broad stroke of well, maybe not such a broad stroke. Tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I left, there wasn't a pandemic,
Yeah.
so that was that was something that took us by surprise, like it did so many people. But this is actually an idea that I had a long time ago, just sort of thinking like, what would I like to do at some point in my life, and it was travel around and make music in different countries with people. Um, for the last 4 years, I've been living in Valencia, Spain, and I've been directing a music program at a college there. Berkeley College of Music has a campus,
Right.
and so I was working there for the last 4 years. And then we knew it was going to be a temporary situation for us, and we were starting to think about when would be a good time to come back to the United States, in terms of family and our daughter going, kind of entering school at a good time. And I was also starting to feel like I wanted to play more. Running the program was really rewarding in so many ways, but I was also starting to itch to play
Yeah.
and to create. So we decided, well, since I'm gonna go back to playing music full time, maybe, and move back to the States, maybe this is our year to kind of take a gap year and travel as a family. And so we did that. We originally were going to go to 9 countries. We made it to 6
Wow.
of our 9 before things got slowed down to a halt.
Yeah.
But we actually, to be honest, we did really, really well. And I'm so thankful that we took the opportunity when we did. And we got to do so many of the things that we wanted to. So
Well, that's really way cool. So, tell us a little bit about how you shared your music with the people that you met. What was it like? I mean, I'm assuming you met some people you had never seen or known before, and certainly
yeah.
never played with before. What was that musical encounter like?
They were all so different. I kind of had this idea going out that, okay, the basic idea is that I'm going to meet with people, we're going to share our traditions, and we're going to see what we can come up with together, arranging or teaching each other, and I'm going to document the experience as I know how, with video and audio and photography, and write about it as well. So that was the basic idea. We started in Spain because there were places that we hadn't seen yet, even though we had lived there for 4 years, and we thought it'd be kind of a safe way to sort of start out in a country that we were familiar with as a family and spoke the language. So I got together with a few friends that that I already knew there, and they were kind of like guinea pigs in a way, but they're amazing musicians up in Galicia.
Oh, what a
And
great place. Yeah.
yeah, they got a great traditional music scene up there: fiddles, bouzouki, hurdy-gurdy, just all sorts of amazing music. And so, some of these interactions were one camera and one microphone, sitting around kind of having a fiddle lesson or learning a tune.
Yeah.
Other ones, like maybe I was in a house that had a studio facility, and I was able to kind of set up a couple more mics. So they were, there's a wide range of really what the technical side of things were. But in the end, it was just really trying to find common ground. And I was really trying to learn tunes from people, and techniques. And then, much like Mike was just doing with that song, there are many occasions where we tried to blend our traditions with each other, because they were also as eager to learn something from where I come from as I was from them. So
Yeah.
there were definitely mashups that were happening. It was
That's so
challenging
cool.
and rewarding, and I'm so thankful that I got to do it.
I'm glad you did it too. And I find it interesting that the two of you think a lot the same, and that you're interested in not just being exposed to music from other worlds, but actually blending it, melding it into the music that you make. And I find that fascinating. And I know, Mike, your work with Yo-Yo Ma has been some, amalgam of different kinds of music, different styles of music. Do you think along those same threads?
Yeah, for sure. I think I was trying to articulate this recently because I've got an album coming out, similar to the concept of the Otherlands project from Casey of collaborating with kind of style and culturally specific groups of people for each track. But actually for this album, it's all still original music. that I wrote. And so like there's, essentially like some different styles of music that not only maybe I have some experience in, but I more importantly actually have friends who can help guide me into the style. So like I think what I enjoy about this cross-cultural work is that obviously you're learning about the world, you're learning about other cultures, but you're actually finding out different parts of yourself in those cultures. And different parts of me come out as a musician and as a person when I play Bach versus when I sing a bluegrass song. And like the styles and the cultures that they come from, they give different opportunities to access different parts of yourself, I find. And so with the album, like I took that to the compositional, angle, like what kind of composer am I when I'm trying to write an Arabic tune or a West African tune or a Persian tune, and kind of getting some guidance from people native to those styles was invaluable. But it's really, the way that I think about it is like I am actually a different person when I'm with my friends than I am with a student. And it's the same idea that, the environment and the people you're around bring out different parts of you. And so I enjoy that exploratory process, like musically on a stylistic level.
Yeah, well, you really pull it off. It's just so wonderful. I really like the piece that you played, of course. And I like that it's thoughtful, meaning that you didn't think, well, this is going to sound cool. Let me just play this because it'll sound awesome. It does sound awesome, but it came from a different place in you, and especially musically. So I like that a lot. Now, you guys have known each other through what? Was it through a string camp or so? How did you
Naturally
two meet? Naturally.
That's where most of the string world meets these days.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about that. Casey, do you recall when you guys met?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in 2007 in San Diego. Mark O'Connor had a camp that he was doing, fiddle camp. It's not the ones that he's doing now for the teaching method and things. It was kind of in a way spoke to the people that Mike and I are today, these cross-cultural collaborators. Mark would bring different styles of fiddle players. And so that's what drew me to these camps, and I would teach there as well as take lessons from people. So we happened to both be there in 2007 in San Diego, and that was also the year that an amazing Carnatic violinist who's from Mysore, his name is Manjunath, and I had heard Carnatic music before a couple times, but I'd never seen it played. I had no idea how people, actually played it, and the technique on the violin was so different, and it was such a beautiful and memorable experience for me to see Manjunath that year that I met Mike, that it really kind of changed the way that I played and the way I thought about music, really from meeting him that year that I also met Mike.
Wow,
So
that's
it was
a powerful,
big year for me.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a big year, but it's also powerful and influential that you met Mike, and that changed things for you. Oh, I like that, Mike.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And-
What can you say,
and-
right?
Wait, but I also think it's possible, speaking of a formidable year and the things that can happen at fiddle camps or string camps, is that sometimes you may meet your future wife.
Uh-oh. Whose
Yeah.
story is this?
Well,
Is it yours, Mike?
It's this same camp that Casey's talking about. 2007 at the Mark O'Connor
Oh my
San Diego
gosh.
camp is where my wife and I first met.
We need to
Hanukkah
get Mark
Castle.
O'Connor on here.
Yeah, I mean he's an incredible figure in the string world for sure, and I mean, like the life-changing experience that Casey's talking about, it's not just the students, it's the teachers that also get to connect with each other and have those experiences. And it's in large part because of those experiences that, I've ended up running camps, with a similar kind of ethos of, multi-style, bringing people together that might not usually be together. And that's often the largest selling point that we have, which is come to camp and meet your future spouse.
It can happen to you too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, forget eHarmony. It's, all you need to do is come to fiddle camp.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You don't even need to bring a fiddle.
Well, it's true.
You don't even need a fiddle.
You could even play a cello.
That is allowed now.
That's allowed now. Well, listen, we've got some people from really all over the world that like to say hello. I always ask them, where are you from? And say hello. And so we've got a couple folks. I'm just going to put them on the screen here. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't.
I do know her. That is
Wow,
Lisa.
okay.
Yep. She was
You
a
know
student
Lisa?
of mine in Valencia last year. She's a cellist, actually.
Well, I've corresponded with Lisa because she has a strap, one of the cello straps that I designed. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That's a very
she
cool
seems great.
invention of yours,
I haven't
too,
met her
Mike.
though.
She's
The
awesome.
cello strap. I love the cello strap.
Yeah.
And then Susan, thanks, Susan, for joining us again. She's in several of our courses at Artist Works. She just recently joined the acoustic guitar for beginners course. Michael Colligan, hi, Casey.
Yes.
And Mike?
That's one of my. I'm trying to think of how we're related. I have such a huge family. It's probably a second cousin.
Oh,
Sorry, Mike,
okay.
if I'm wrong.
Well, he'll let us know.
Yeah.
And here's James from Rapid City. Thank you for joining us. And Lauren is with Cheryl from Washington State. Thank you for being here. That's really nice. And Jason just wanted to tell Mike that he
What
sounded
up,
good.
Jason?
Do you know him, Mike?
Jason's an incredible violinist, jazz violinist. He teaches at Berklee College of Music.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
right.
All right, and here's Peg. Peg saying, hi, Mike from Florida.
Yeah, Peggy's one of our Artist Works students, and also has been to my Florida camp. Actually, I connected to her through Artist Works.
Oh,
through the cello
nice.
school. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, we'll talk about the string camp here too. And Joel is just saying a big thank you from the west coast of Canada. So we got people really kind of from everywhere, which is nice.
Lovely.
And there's more people here, but I thought, well, we have to put this one up. David said he's proud to be your student. And David, I don't know if that's for Mike or if it's for Casey, but we're just glad that you're learning, no matter
Nice.
where you're learning. That's all important. That's all important. And Hillary says hello. Cheers
Hillary's
from.
fantastic.
And tell me how you know her, Casey.
I know Hillary through the bluegrass world. Probably at IBMA, I think, is the time that we have hung out the most in the past. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Well, we usually ask everybody to post some questions, and so we have just a couple of questions here. So I'm going to put the first one up, and it is for Mike. And if you can't see that, Mike, it's from John.
Oh, I can see
Graves.
it.
Okay. All right.
My silence, it doesn't mean I can't see it. Great question, John. The mashup I sang earlier, it has been recorded. I've recorded it with Sandeep Das, the tabla player, on an album that will get released later this year. So it's not available yet, unfortunately.
Okay.
And John is referring to a very short-lived and ill-conceived 20 minutes of my life where I had a mustache.
No.
Yesterday, I grew the COVID beard for 8
Everybody,
weeks.
everybody did.
I've never done it. I've never grown a satisfying beard, and so this was the longest I had given it a shot. 8 weeks, and of course, mid shave, I had to hold on to that mustache for a little bit, but
All right.
it was quickly vetoed in my household.
It was. What was the reason for the veto? Just to.
Just its pure existence.
Well, I could
So
say
you didn't have crumbs in your mustache or anything like that.
I didn't have a
Just
chance.
the baby
Yeah.
didn't recognize you anymore. It was done. It was over.
it could have been of a parental hazard, your child grabbing your mustache and pulling your upper lip. So
That's-
Oh,
Yeah.
see, this is the voice of experience here. I think
these things can happen.
These things can happen.
I didn't realize how lucky I was.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
That's
you
right.
can always grow it back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just takes
right.
another. Yeah.
It takes a little while, doesn't it, Mike? So we're just going to run through a couple more of these, and then we'd love to hear Casey play.
Sure.
So here's Martha in Oregon, and Becky, thank you for that. She said she's looking forward to this tonight, and that's good. Lisa said she really likes you, Casey, with 2 hearts, no less. Aww. And Paulo is from Argentina. And then Adrian is from Massachusetts. So we certainly have a lot more things to talk about, and I'm really looking forward to that. But I wondered, Casey, would you like to play a little something for us so we can
Yeah.
sample your talents a bit? What would you like to play? Do you want to tell us about
Sure.
that? Okay.
Sure. Yeah. So before when we were in Finland in our lockdown, in our isolation, I actually got to play a lot of tunes.
Yeah.
And there were a couple online concerts that were happening that I was preparing things for and trying to find stuff that I could, share with some other musicians. And I remember this old tune. I hadn't actually done it for a while, but it seemed to be kind of appropriate for the time. Everybody was kind of out of work and just kind of hanging out. And it also, the first lyrics of it were significant to me as well. It's a tune called "I Ain't Gonna Work Tomorrow," and the first lyrics are, "I'm gonna leave this country and I'm going around this world." And we were kind of gearing up to leave Finland and kind of finish up our world travels. So this is just me sitting around playing and figuring out a little different way for myself how I could play this.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna leave this old country, and I'm gonna run around this world. I'm gonna leave this country for the sake of my little girl. I ain't gonna work tomorrow, and I ain't gonna work next day. I ain't gonna work tomorrow, for it may be a rainy day. I lost my money gambling, and I lost my name, you see. I am nobody's darling, and nobody cares for me. I ain't gonna work tomorrow, and I ain't gonna work next day. I ain't gonna work tomorrow, for it may be a rainy day. I hang my head in sorrow, and I hang my head and I cry. I hang my head in sorrow as my darling passes by. I ain't gonna work tomorrow, and I ain't gonna work next day. I ain't gonna work tomorrow, for it may be a rainy day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bravo. That was wonderful.
Oh, thanks,
and
guys.
that's an original of yours.
It's actually not. It's one that the Carter family does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I ain't gonna work tomorrow, and
I like that.
But it's a different way of doing it. I think my first introduction to that tune was from Tim O'Brien and his band Hot Rise.
Yeah, I know them
used to-
well.
They used to do that tune, and they had a way of doing it. And then I listened to the Carter version, and then I'm sure as Mike knows, as many musicians know out there, you sit down, you sort of start playing, and sometimes things take little directions, and
Yeah.
I'm sure somehow it's definitely been influenced by things that I've been listening to and playing in the last year or two. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed hearing it, and haven't heard you play before, and so that was a good initiation for me. I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I like the way you sing along with it. You sing the melody with what you're playing, or vice versa. You play the melody with what you're singing.
no, thanks.
Is that a particular technique for strings? I'm a flute player. I don't know all these things, so I'm just wondering, is that...
Maybe I'd be curious to see what Mike's got to say about this too, because, playing fiddle is my first. Singing is been something that's just kind of been a sort of a second thing that I've been doing for a while to try and get better at it, and because I enjoy songs. But like playing a fretless instrument,
Yeah.
and trying to sing at the same time, my first experience with it was if I concentrated on what I was playing on the fiddle, my voice would go out of tune. And if I concentrated on my voice, then my fiddle would go out of tune. And so if I played the same thing in both of them, then I had better luck of getting them both right. So, and also like, you can kind of sing the things you're thinking of in your head, like when you're playing. I see my fingers, but then I can sort of sing them. So it's kind of this thing that sort of goes hand in hand. Then the tough part is trying to play harmonies to it too, or improvising with it. In general, like when I'm starting a new tune, I try and figure out what I'm going to do, and not deviate from it until I'm really comfortable, and then I can start to, try variations of things.
Well, you did a great job on that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I've been getting more loose with it and relaxed with it over the years as I've
You're
done it
getting
more.
jiggy with it.
Yeah. You know who's great on this stuff is I really learned by listening to Tim O'Brien,
Yeah.
and he sings so beautifully with his violin, and also Bruce Molsky. Both of
Yeah.
those guys are just
Both great musicians.
they're just champs of the violin and the vocal harmonies
Yeah.
and phrasing and all that.
Yeah.
What's your experience, Mike?
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, Patricia, I don't know if there's a word specifically for that, for harmonizing with the instrument. But I have ended up actually at Berkeley working with a lot of cellists who are working on singing, and as Casey is saying, it's like the first strike against us is that we don't have frets.
Yeah.
So intonation is just logistically a real hurdle. And so what I usually say is, because I, much like Casey, identified first as a cellist for many years before, really committing to wanting to sing. Also, just because I loved songs and wanted to be able to express, things in a different way. So many string playing singers are coming at it from an identity as a string player. So the assumption is that you're likely a better instrumentalist than you are a singer. And so, when intonation is an issue, I tell cellists, just if you try and adjust your hand and your voice to intonate, you're going to end up in a worse situation than where you started. So just, even if the cello is what's out of tune, don't move your finger. Just trust your
Interesting.
fingers, and then you can adjust one thing, just the voice, to your fingers. So that's like a practical thing, like in the heat of the moment. But it does take a lot of coordination practice to start, essentially, like, I think as string players, we're kind of in this mental box of being single line instruments. And like from a classical background, I would compare that to like a pianist who is very accustomed to hearing and thinking and following multiple musical voices. And as a cellist, I don't have that kind of mental training when I was young. And so the first step is like just getting used to thinking about a melodic line in your voice at the same time as your instrument, and so just kind of developing two parts of your brain, and tracking two things at once is half the battle. And obviously playing rhythmically can be easier than what Casey just did, where you're really intonating and harmonizing vertically.
Yeah, I suppose if you're just playing, chicka 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 chicka, and playing chords and rhythm, it is. I agree. There's less maybe that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
The shorter the notes, the less we're aware they're out of tune.
But working both sides of your brain, or however many portals you've got there, that drummers do that all the time, and
Oh, it's amazing.
it is absolutely stunning. When they do it
crazy what
well.
they can do.
I don't know if you've ever watched Peter Erskine. Holy cow! That guy really. Peter's got it right down, and it's just amazing what he can do with the hi-hat and the ride cymbal versus the bass drum. I don't know what he's doing, but he does it all really well.
Nice.
Does
Yeah,
it
that
really well.
independence is something else.
It's incredible. And it is a very special skill. I really admire people that are able to do that. So Mike, I know you have a lot of string camps, and you've got one coming up. And that's going across it's scrolling across the bottom
Yeah.
of the screen right now. I don't know if you've advertised that as a place to find your spouse or not, but tell us a little bit, because it's going to be hard because it's going to be online. But tell us
there's a
what's going
limited
on.
number of spouses, so you have to apply early. Well, I'm really excited. I mean, this is a camp. This is our 11th year of the Mike Block String Camp, and the past 2 years we've been growing and breaking, enrollment records twice, and we were really excited about our momentum. But now we're gonna be taking place totally online, and so we're kind of really formulating how can we still, because as Casey knows, a string camp, summer camp, it's not just about the classes. As important as that is, and as focused as I really want the learning to be, it's about building the community and making connections and meeting people and meeting spouses, or just planting artistic seeds that germinate years later. And so, there's a mixture of classes, and then we're having some nightly jams, which online are just kind of like a play along jam. Where you're playing along to somebody at like a host location. But we're even going to have like a social room. The camp I run is right on the beach in Florida. So hanging out on the beach, swimming in the ocean is a big part of that. So we're going to have a Zoom room called The Beach, where people can go and just chat during the nightly jams. And
Everybody needs to change their virtual background to be beachy.
Oh, that would be so fun. Yeah.
That's you can do. Is it going to be on Zoom? Because you can do like that palm tree kind of thing. That's very cool.
Yeah,
Very
we'll do
cool.
all the classes via Zoom, and essentially, I really like learning in a multi-style environment, because it's not just about learning what makes bluegrass bluegrass. Sometimes learning bluegrass becomes all the more clear when you're juxtaposing it with like jazz or Irish music, and understanding what separates things and what connects things. I find a very exciting mental place to be in, and so the camp is kind of structured with that. And people should, if they're interested, it's happening next month, they should check it out online.
And do you find in these camps very many people that are sort of multi-instrumentalists? Do you find people taking up the cello that also play the fiddle or mandolin or anything like that?
Well, there are multi-instrumentalists that come, and usually in the in-person camp, the focus is on ensemble work. So we let people choose whatever instrument they want to use in their bands. But what we don't do is we don't provide like absolute beginner instrumental instruction. It's kind of, maybe it's me as a cellist who I've spent my whole life accompanying violinists and fiddlers, that I'm very passionate about every student, no matter what instrument they play, learning all of the roles. So all, like, even bass players, cellists, everybody's learning the melody together. And even the violinists are all learning the chords and learning how to accompany. And that's a big part of what I push for in ensemble work, is that everybody has an understanding of all of the roles, and at any moment they can contribute in a different role. And I think, I find that really satisfying. And as a cellist, I always have a chip on my shoulder that, the violinists just get to play the melody 20 times before the cellist gets to play it once. And so I'm always kind of pushing for more equality. And essentially, I guess the reason I'm saying is we don't really have much instrument-specific instruction, because the idea at camp is that, people get instrument-specific instruction throughout the year, and at camp, the idea is that everybody's learning all of the things, regardless of their instrument.
Well, you have opened a can of worms now, saying that you don't like it when the fiddle players get to play all the melody, and you want equality. So now you guys have to play.
I'm tired of the melody.
Okay, then give it to
Tired of it.
him.
He can
Give it
have
to
it.
my.
I've been playing. I'm happy just to play rhythm all the time. It's so
Okay,
fun.
well, you guys figure out what you're gonna play because you're gonna play now.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna play a groove, Mike, and you have to play along.
This
Now
is a
you-
quiz.
See?
That's going
This
to
is
go
a quiz.
great
That's gonna be
via
great.
the online. Yeah.
This is a test.
Yeah.
See if you can. What are you gonna do? Do you know?
No,
No. Okay. Well, that's always fun.
it's like some of the sessions that I went in the last, the last 9 months. You get there and you, all right,
Wing it.
What's gonna happen today?
Wing it. We don't know.
know.
But
We're
it's
just
gonna be
gonna-
musical. And
We're
that's
just
what-
going to chat here.
Okay, you're just gonna have a musical chat, and I'm gonna let you to it. I'll be right here.
Are you?
Hold on.
Wait, you're
I'm gonna
taking
get
your
my
headphones out,
headphones
yeah?
around this strap.
Can you still hear
Oh,
me?
no.
Oh,
Mike
wait.
block-
you're doing
here
that.
he's
All right.
he's back now.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I'm leaving it to you.
All right. I'm going to, Mike, I'm going to provide a little bed. Since we both have a beautiful C string, I think that might be a nice foundation for us to begin. And
Perfect.
so here, let me.
Start at the bottom, work our way up.
Wow. That was a great way to play together. That was that was stunning.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thanks. I don't know what it sounded like.
Well, you'll be able to know. You'll
Was
be able to
Casey's
know.
mic on? I wasn't listening to him the whole time.
Were you playing?
Who?
You look great.
No, it's
Well-
beautiful. It's really fun to try. I mean, it's a whole new weird experience.
It's
really,
amazing
you know?
how well it can work, though, when you're not worried about 10 milliseconds here or there, though. It's
Yeah,
really-
because you just
this
hold
really
on
works.
hold on to the drone for a while in some ways, so the other person can pick it up, and then it's just so beautiful to play over top of that. It was very nice. Thank you. It's just-
Thanks.
In a
Good
way,
to-
it's actually very conversational. I would imagine by the time this is over, there's going to be a whole, mindset of this conversational approach to improv born
Yeah.
of the online necessities.
Yeah, interesting thought.
Some of the musicians that have come on to our live dispatches from home have traded off solos. And like the last note of the solo, they'll just hold on to a little bit longer. And there's the nod, which seems to be in the right time, so that the one musician can toss the solo off to the other. And there's a bit of it can be a call and response, but it can also be trading solos. But it's been
Nice.
fun to do that. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's
There are
cool.
some questions about your respective instruments.
Yes.
Your respective instruments.
Mhm.
So, both violins and cellos are interesting to talk about, but could we, Mike, start with you? I know you created this strap, which is the coolest thing, but you also play a very cool cello. Let's talk a little bit about the instruments before.
Well, sure. Yeah. There's some good instrument nerds out there. This is actually a cello from 2014 by a maker in Montreal, Fabien Gaucher.
Can you come closer
Oh,
to the
yeah.
microphone?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was giving myself space. Sorry. This cello was made by Fabien Gaucher in Montreal, 2014. So I'm actually the first owner of the instrument,
Cool.
which is just kind of cool to feel like we'll kind of develop together. But yeah, it's hard to show,
The strap,
while
yeah.
I'm wired here. But this strap has been kind of like a big transition for me in how I feel as a musician. And a good friend of both Casey and I's is a great musician, Rashad Eggleston, who helped me record some videos for my Artist Works school, and also played with my wife a bunch. Also been to my camp in Florida. He was a huge influence on my conception of what I could do with cello outside of classical music, and so he plays standing with the strap, and he's been doing it for a long time. And so eventually, the inspiration of his freedom really, made me want to give it a shot. His approach with a guitar strap is, it's not as stable as you're used to when you're sitting. And so there's all sorts of technical adjustments that he's made to his playing, which essentially, when I started working on it, I had this weird commitment. I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna make a list. I have a Word document of all the how different my angle of each wrist is, and how I'm gonna hold my neck. And I had a list of all these technical changes I would need to adapt to the strap. And then somehow 2 months into this process, I had an epiphany, which was, instead of changing my technique that I paid tens of thousands of dollars for, I could just change the design of the strap.
There you go.
Bam. So once
the tail wagging the dog. I mean,
once I realized that, then it was like another year of brute trial and error of just really trying to hone in the angles and the weight distribution, so that a sitting cellist, myself or otherwise, could instantly feel comfortable, hopefully, standing. And so, yeah, it was one of those things where I committed to developing this and taking it on stage before it was ready. Because I was like, you feel different on stage than you do in practice. If I'm going to figure this out and really know what I need, I have to do this on stage. And so there was many concerts where I played on setups that were not good. And there was even one concert where a rope broke mid solo.
Oh, no.
This was a stressful time. And on tour, I was
I'm
like,
sorry, I'm laughing.
you know what's
I
funny
think
is
we can just kind of see it, and it's
Yeah.
very, very vivid.
I have
Very vivid.
I have
It's not going
very
to happen at your house. You know?
I have
It's got to
memories.
be on stage.
I was on tour with my wife's band at one point, and I like essentially every new town we were at, I had to look for a hardware store because I was like tinkering and needing more things. So I was experimenting publicly enough that essentially cellists would come up to me and be like, "Hey, when you figure it out, I'd love to be able to get one." So the idea of making a product was planted early for me, and so the goal was to make something adjustable for all sizes of people and instruments. And so now we sell them, and you can check it out at cellostrap.com. And yeah, we've sold, I think in the past like 5 years, we've sold almost 2,000, just under 2,000 straps.
Wow, that's not that. Is that all the cellists in the world, or no? There's
This
more
is
than
what
me.
people keep telling me, that you'll run out, but
Just
I'm optimistic. It's my hope is that it provides other people a freedom. Casey, as a violinist, he can stand when he plays, and I don't know
Sure.
if you feel different when you stand or sit, Casey, or if you have a preference.
I feel I like to move when I play.
yeah.
And I'm going to move when I sit down. I'm going to stamp my feet probably when I'm sitting down. I'm going to dance around more when I'm standing up. I think I like standing up, although it does tire after a while, I suppose, Not like a 6-hour practice session of standing. But
Well, tell us a little bit about your fiddle.
I am also the first owner of this instrument.
Wow, this is so cool. I hope you
Yep.
guys helped design them a
But
little bit.
I actually I play
There you
the
go.
cello. I just really big. No. So this is a 5-string instrument. It was built in 2000, so it's 20 years old now.
Yeah.
By a man named John Silikowski. And
John Silikowski.
yeah,
Okay.
he's in Scottsburg, Indiana, which is just over the Kentucky border. But this is his, I think it's the 22nd 5-string that he's made. So it was made as a 5-string, and it's got the C there. And it's been a great instrument for me. I got it in my last year of college. I remember being in the string department at Berkeley, and some folks there saying, you need a new instrument, Casey.
Oh.
And I was like, what do you mean? I'm happy with it. But they were right. And so I talked to John, and he sent me a couple of instruments to try out, and this was the one that I chose.
How does it change your playing? I mean, obviously it broadens what you can play.
You mean to have 5 strings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you don't have to shift as much. You gotta.
Yeah. Of
I
course
got it
not.
because I hate shifting, and if I break a string, I've already got a spare on it. So it's
Wow, it's practical too.
super practical. No,
Practical too.
you know what's really nice about it is playing the rhythm. Having that extra register. Having that is a really nice foundation for playing with other string players. Also for playing with vocalists, it increases the range of harmonies that you can do. And
It's kind of indispensable if you're going to accompany a cellist, say, on the fiddle. Just to get it a little bit further down is nice. Yeah, but it's really great for chordal playing.
there are certain things that are easier to do on it because the strings are a little closer together, and the angle of change for the bow is less for each string. But it also makes other things more difficult to do. There are certain chords that I can play on a 4-string that I can't play on this 5-string because I have hot dogs for fingers. So, anyway, I love it. I'm stuck on 5-string.
But you, this is a question for both of you. You seem to have been instrumental, pun intended, in the design of the instrument. So what's that process like, Mike? Or is that true for you, Mike? I mean, were you part of the design of that cello?
No, the instrument was made, and I found it in a shop. But like with the strap or whatnot, I think there is a certain part of the mindset of like working on your technique as a musician and really trying to find the best way to accomplish a goal is essentially what working on your technique is. you start to question the assumptions. Like, why can't I have a fifth string if I want to play certain kinds of things? Or why can't I stand as a cellist? And so there is kind of, in certain people, this idea of, maximizing their technique or whatnot that really starts to, lead to inventing things or trying to create stuff, just to give you more tools to access goals, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
The two reasons that I wanted a 5-string violin, one was because I was never satisfied with the open D being the lowest D on the instrument. You're playing a fiddle tune in D, and and there it is you can't go any lower to play, like, to end the song. So I wanted a lower D. And then I was also learning alto sax solos, Charlie Parker solos.
Oh, yeah.
And the range of the alto sax goes down to like an E or an E flat. And I couldn't play full lines of his solos in some cases, and I had to switch octaves. And so I was like, ooh, finally I can play the line as it was conceived.
Nice.
And then
That's a
it was
good
over.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, just a little switch in subject, but I think it's interesting to talk about, especially with you, Mike. We did a podcast about, I think the topic was, can talent be taught? And wasn't that the topic? I think so.
Oh, between you and me?
Yeah, me and you. You and I.
I remember
you, me
talking
and
to you about stage fright.
Yes, but
Is that-
okay, so maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it
Okay.
was. I think you're right. But we had a great podcast about can talent be taught? And I was thinking I discussed it with you. But one of the things you said, which I thought was interesting, was when you go into a performance, just have these realistic expectations that something is going to go wrong. I thought, well, you don't know it, but you almost plan for it. And I'm not repeating it correctly. And that's why I'm asking you to maybe just talk for a few seconds about that philosophy of your expectations when you go on stage and how that relates to mistakes.
Yeah, I do remember this conversation. I think we were talking about, how do you mentally prepare for a performance or an interview or anything? And this idea, obviously, that so much of things that we stress out about are based on fear, essentially, of the unknown. And so actually naming your fear and identifying what it is you're actually afraid of can be actually somewhat comforting. So I think, like the example, if I have a big concert, the three things I might, if I'm nervous, to help, the three things I might try and articulate are, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And to name it, what's literally the worst thing that could happen? And for me, that usually involves tripping and falling on my instrument before I even get to the center of the stage and play my first note. That seems like the worst case scenario.
That seems pretty bad, yeah.
And then the other question is, well, what's the best thing that could happen? Well, the best thing is I go out there and I kill it, and there's a manager, a record label, and a bank manager all in the audience ready to hand me new contracts and new money.
Your future.
Yeah, exactly. The keys to my future are in that audience, and they love everything I do, and the rest of my life is easy. Let's say that's the best thing that could happen. For what it's worth, neither of those things have ever happened. In reality, and then the third thing I try and articulate is what's most likely to happen. And what's most likely to happen is it's going to go okay. It's going to go fine. And there will be something I could have done better. And there will be other things that are great. And even the things I think could have gone better, usually were enjoyed by the audience just the same. And kind of then shifting to thinking less about what I'm going to do and what is the experience I'm providing for the audience, kind of shifting that mindset is also really helpful and really kind of at the heart of, why am I going out on stage? Is it just to, demonstrate perfection night after night for my own, self-identity? No, it's more of this idea of serving the audience, creating an experience for them. And it's, you can do that much better when you're not worried about, yourself.
And perfection. And I think to expect that every performance is going to be perfect, flawless, no mistakes, just makes you even more nervous, because then when you hit a clam, as Paul Gilbert calls them, now you're all tense, and the way you've explained it, and I think it's very helpful advice, is that there's the worst possible, there's the best possible, and then there's something in between. You know, these are realistic expectations, and it's okay if you make a mistake. Just that happened. Now you just move on, because you don't have set in your mind that this has to be absolutely perfect. And it actually took a lot of pressure off of me, just thinking, well, okay, there's going to be some things I might not say 100% correctly, or I might forget something if I'm in a presentation or something like that. And so it was good advice, not just for a musician, but for somebody who talks a lot too.
You know, if I could, you made me think of a couple, just two little
Sure,
things.
please.
That the audience has nobody has any idea what you are trying to do. They have no idea if, like, you miss a note, right, or you miss chord change or something like that. They're not inside your head, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how things are being received, you know, and you probably never will. You just do the best job that you can. But it helped me to realize that nobody knows what I was intending to do anyway. You know,
Yeah.
so it may have just sounded fluid anyway, even though I wanted to do something different. And then another thing I think about is that, like, when mistakes happen, they feel like they last forever. You know, it's like, whoa, that out of tune note lasted for a long time. Oh boy, we kind of got a little off on the time. Those things seem to get elongated in our minds. But then, like, you listen back to a recording of a concert, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember the third song. I wasn't so happy after that song. You listen to it, and you're like,
Not so
seems
bad, huh?
Seems fine. I'm not sure what I was worried about, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, when you're playing with other people, too, like nobody's listening to you. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's listening to themselves, or they're listening to the mix, and you can't tell what's, you know,
Yeah.
I think those are those
all
things-
relative.
It's all relative, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think when you're trying to be good at your instrument in music, I mean, you are striving for perfection, and so you see mistakes, and those are ways that you can improve and practice and get better, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you both for sharing that. And I'm sorry that we didn't discuss the topic of whether or not talent can be taught, but I will tell you, for those of you who are asking in the comments, I interviewed, I think, 4 different artists at ArtistWorks that teach at ArtistWorks, and it was a resounding yes, and that people are not born with superpowers. And they might have more of an inclination toward music, and therefore they may play or practice more often, but talent absolutely can be taught and may take some determination and some perseverance and vigilance and diligence and all of that. But you can play at a high level. It's just a matter of mindset and having good teachers and exposure to expertise and a bit of a plan. And give yourself time to succeed. But
And
yes,
fail.
yeah, and pick back up. You know, pick back up when things don't go right. Well, we are nearing the end of our little musical conversation and oasis today. I wondered if maybe you guys would like to do a little duet kind of thing as we say goodbye.
Oh, sure.
Could we do that? What would you
Yeah.
like to do, Mike? Any thoughts on that?
Well,
Or you guys work that out?
what do you
Well,
think, Casey?
Is there, like, a little fiddle tune, maybe, like, that you could play an A part, and then I could play a B part,
sure.
and, you know,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
could try something like that?
That sounds like fun.
What comes to mind?
Actually, how about Billy in the Low Ground?
Sure.
Billy in the Low Ground. That's a favorite.
I love that one. You know why I love it? Because it's in C.
Is that your favorite key? It's C for Casey.
No, it's C for C string.
It's C for C string, the extra one you got. I like that it's C for Casey.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
let's
guys.
see. Well, I'll play an A part, and then you play an A part.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will not play rhythm behind you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
try
just-
not to play together.
I'll just look like I'm playing rhythm behind you.
Okay.
Beautiful. Yay!
Thank you, Casey. It's great to.
That's fun,
Thank
Mike.
you,
with
guys.
you.
Oh, what a great way to cap off this
fun.
evening. Thank you so very much, and I wish you all the best luck in the string camp, July 6th to the 11th.
Yeah.
And Casey, I just admire what you've done with the Otherlands, and
Thank you.
I look forward to hearing more about that. Please make sure you stay in touch with Artist Works, and
Will do.
what a really fun evening, and lots of comments here from people. They love you. They say you're divine and you're awesome, and greetings from Berlin. And we're just really happy to have you guys with us. And please stay healthy, stay safe, and thank you for being here with us tonight.
Great. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Patricia, it's great to meet you. And Mike, please say hi to Hanukkah.
I will. Thanks, Casey. Great to see you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye
much, all right.
everybody.
Good night.